Okay, well, it's a new week in our class, and we are on to the week after Thanksgiving, and this is the second to last week in class. So it's the second to last week to finish up class. And we are talking about the future of learning management systems. And so to that end, you'll do some readings on different types of or ways of thinking about online learning, such as, well, this one's about open courses or MOOCs, and then digital badges in education. And this idea of having, a set of badges, it's kind of interesting actually. If you think about earning badges for certain things, they're kind of like micro credentials, is what they call them. I guess another word for calling them. But anyway, they're a credential or a badge that shows that you know a specific thing. And once you have completed that badge, you earn that, and you can share that with a potential employer to show that you know something. And then there's a podcast episode about the role of OER in 21st century classrooms from SoundCloud. And I think that's kind of interesting too, to think about this open educational resources movement. Let me fix this link real quick. But anyway, it's this open educational resources is what OER stands for, and it's really just about how do we provide resources to people who may not otherwise have access to those resources. And so OER is one way to do it. OER basically means this is a resource, this is an educational resource that is available to you free. It's copyright free, so you can do anything you want to with the resource. You can add, adapt, update, change, and do those types of things with the resource. And shouldn't a lot of resources be available for a lot of people? So that's kind of one of the things that we're talking about this week. And then the discussion this week is also on open educational resources, and you're going to take a look at the readings for this week and take a look at some course materials from a few courses on MIT's OpenCourseware site, and then critically analyze them based on the promises of the movement of open educational resources. So any movement that is kind of a fad in education should be critically analyzed. It should be analyzed by people who are thoughtful. And so this is an opportunity for you to do this. Some of the promises of this movement include a less expensive education for people, ability to extend access to educational materials by underprivileged groups or to underprivileged groups, and better sharing of materials and education created back to the taxpayers who help pay for them. So again, a lot of times universities are somewhat subsidized by tax money, although not hardly as much as they used to be. In fact, state support for higher education has consistently declined since the 1970s, so it's kind of a fallacy to say that your tax dollars paid for everyone's education. But anyway, that's another issue. But anyway, what are your thoughts on these goals? Take a look at MIT's OpenCourseware site. Would underprivileged people be able to access that site and use it in a good way? Does it help to extend access back to education, of educational materials back to those groups? Does it help include a less expensive education? Does it help to get money or get value back to taxpayers who might help pay for these educational resources? So those are some thoughts that you can talk about in the discussion for this week. This week is our last online office hours, or online happy hour, I guess we're calling them, November 30th at 7 p.m. That's on a Friday. And again, that's just going to be an office hour. I don't think I'll record that session, so that's if you want to come and ask any questions, if you have any questions that you want to come to. But again, it's okay if you don't or can't come to that session. I'll just be available online in case somebody does need some help or have some questions. I don't think I'll present any new materials at that time. I can do that in these weekly videos that I'm recording. And then finally, you'll want to submit your Building a Course in a Learning Management System 2 assignment this week. It's due December 1st, and that will be kind of the last major assignment for this class. And then there'll be just a few other kind of housekeeping and finishing up things for next week in the class. So that's what's going on this week. Let's see, just a couple of ideas too to help you get your thoughts sparked on the OER idea, open educational resources. I actually went to a conference last month about online learning and educational technology. And so OER was one of the things that was mentioned, and it's actually kind of interesting how they did some research on courses that include open educational resources within the course, and determined what the findings were from that study. And the findings were that there was a higher throughput rate for courses that support open educational resources, or that have open educational resources as part of their educational materials. So throughput meaning more students made it through the course, more students completed the course than courses that did not have open educational resources. So that's some evidence, some preliminary, I'll say, evidence for the efficacy of OER. And let's see, same or better outcomes as far as learning goes as well. So learning is interesting. And one thing that's kind of interesting too with this report that I saw at the conference was that open educational resources could support new and interesting ways to learn, not otherwise available by copyrighted materials. In other words, if you have a course that uses open educational resources, those kinds of resources that can be changed, adapted, updated, and so forth, you might have a better opportunity to innovate in the areas in which you learn than if you just use a course that has copyrighted learning materials that cannot be changed, cannot be updated. So it's kind of interesting to think about this concept from that perspective as well. All right, well, I think that's all for this week. So have a great week, and we'll see you online.